All right,
Later in the
so
news, breaking leaked details and documents from the United States government.
oh, oh my god, yeah. So you haven't heard, there's this guy, this 21-year-old idiot, also hero, but idiot.
He's a
He
smart
decided, oh, he's definitely a smart idiot. So he decides that he's going to go and leak secret documents to prove a point on I think Discord, was it? I don't know.
Discord gang, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yep. It was on Discord. So I hope if any of you have been watching the news, we had a bunch of military secrets get leaked, and this guy, 21-year-old Jack Texiera,
Texier.
got arrested because he decided to share some pretty nasty secrets about the Ukraine war, about how we're spying on our allies, a whole bunch of stuff, and every news agency is talking about it. And I think that
what did he get charged with?
so he got charged under the Espionage Act. I don't know exactly what he got charged with. Probably share, like, he didn't mean for it to end up in like Russian hands or enemy hands. He was just sharing it on Discord to prove a point to his little buddies in his group. And
So it's like accidentally missending a nude, and you accidentally like send it to your dad or something.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he is a smart idiot.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of like what the media will tell you is that this was a big deal, but not too big of a deal. Some media outlets will tell you that the information that was released was fake. Well, it wasn't. It was absolutely 100% real. So trust me, I know. And the government, the Pentagon, they're all reeling about this. They're trying to contain it, but they can't seem to get a hold of it now that it's being shared around the internet. And I think from my point of view, I think that it's kind of I guess a good thing, because it really exposed to us. This is just an example. It really exposed to us what is actually going on in a war that we're spending billions of dollars on. So
yeah,
some of the
you see like videos here and there, and the news anchors and stuff that go over there, but I feel like you're not really seeing the full scope of things.
and even through places like Telegram and like Ukrainian videos that they post on YouTube or Telegram or whatever, it would make it look like one side is winning. They post videos of them dropping drone bombs on people and like tanks taking out one another. So you'd get, if you looked at both sides, you'd get a really conflicted story. If you listen to American media, the Ukrainians are winning the war. I'm sure Russian media has them winning. So, but in all actuality, this war is coming to quite a different end for both sides, and that is stalemate.
Yeah, I think I did hear about they said it was like becoming frozen. Both sides are just it's going to be very hard for one to get a leg up on the other for quite a while, is what it seems like.
My thing is that with U.S. media covering this in a pro Ukrainian way, obviously. It's really a dire situation for the Ukrainians. And just to be clear, I'm not pro Russian or pro Ukrainian. I think that both sides have a lot of people dying, and it's a really needless war between Russian oligarchs and American and Western interests. So, I think the Ukrainian people are just the ones paying the price for it, and Russian people are the ones paying the price for it. It's kind of a
Yeah,
nasty situation.
yeah, it's like the proxy wars, you know, where the United States would go in, give money, supplies, and whatnot, and then Russia would do it, but use that country as a means to like fight each other. But now it's Russia directly, and then the United States and NATO giving resources to Ukraine when it's really just the Ukrainians paying the ultimate price.
Yeah, and a guy I follow, really intelligent YouTuber. He said, well, I think it was him, but this is just where I took the quote is that we'll we'll win this war, or we'll fight this war down to the last Ukrainian. So that's what the United States philosophy is that we're fighting Russia through Ukraine. We're just it's kind of a self-report, really, so that we're using Ukrainian bodies to fight our little proxy war. It's really just kind of sad because the Ukrainians are getting their homes destroyed, and Russian soldiers are being conscripted and losing their lives. So let me get back to like the whole leak thing. Why this is important? I think it's important because this is going nowhere. We're we're funding a war that's going to lead to a stalemate, and nothing's going to come of it. So we spent billions and billions of dollars for nothing. It's just like it's the same story for Afghanistan. We went over there, we bombed the dog shit out of them, and we gave some of them weapons, and all that was for nothing. And that's exactly what's happening here. Is that all this is going to be for nothing? Uh, Ukraine's going to run out of freaking raw or ground to air missile systems, and by the end of this month, I think. And Russia's going to have air superiority, but they're not going to be able to exploit it because their fucking people are dying at an abysmal rate. So
Yeah, and the morale is really poor as well.
yeah, because it's a useless war.
Yeah. Well,
So
even with like Ukraine, because the way at least the media likes to project it is that the Ukrainians are really like their morale level is extreme in comparison to the Russians, where they're
mhm,
fighting for their country and whatnot. But I, when a war gets like this, where it's just like a grinding halt and it's years and years and years, it's going to just make both sides' morale start to plummet because it's
yeah.
taking so long. The loss of life is just getting astronomical on both ends.
Well, and contrary to Western belief, and I say that because we're in the West. This is not to take away from Eastern propaganda because
Hey,
it's
if you go
just
too far west, that means you're in the east.
yeah, exactly. But the Ukrainians are suffering, almost just as many casualties because the Russians have so much firepower. So it's like, what is this? What is this all about? And there's no point in fighting in Russia continuing to push or Ukraine continuing to gain all their territory back because they're just going to run out of weapons. Or, I mean, Ukraine is just going to run out of weapons and Russia is going to run out of fucking people. So, what's the point? What is the point?
Yeah, it literally just seems it just seems like a really it's like this is gonna sound like insensitive, but it just seems like a dick measuring contest.
Exactly.
Um, like, you know, I got 1/10 of an inch on you, dog. Like I won, but now I have nothing.
Yeah.
Now we both are in shambles, and yeah, I don't. I think it's good for nobody. I mean, the leak definitely. Uh, I guess you could consider it like both a good and bad thing. I think it's right that we get to know, especially because there's support fatigue. I think is what they're calling it. Just where we're giving all this money away and stuff, and the, the narrative being sent back to the West was that Ukraine was not like completely stopping them, but they were starting to turn the tides, is what it seemed like. And then now it just seems like it's going to inevitably be just a long, grinding battle for a little bit of land, like to a little bit of gains here, a little bit of gains there. And
Right. Right. And the biggest lesson we should take from all this is that our government doesn't have our best interests at heart. You know, they want to they want to allow propaganda to make it seem like we're or our side, you know, quote unquote, is winning a war, you know, that's actually not being won. It's a stalemate. And it just kind of goes to show that the United States, if it has an interest in something, it'll go to a numerous amount of lengths to hide the actual story, to cover up what's really going on.
yeah,
And
it's
this
like
guy in
another
some,
whistleblower.
yeah, and this guy in some aspects is, you know, he's kind of a, I don't know if I declare him a hero, but I just think it's good, it's positive to expose the United States like this, to expose the government like this. Our money, our hard-earned tax dollars are going to nothing. They're going to be wasted in Ukraine, and that's not. I'm not against Ukrainians for that. I'm not trying to bash any Ukrainians, but that money could be going to either us to help us build our country, because for some reason, you know, we got money for this war, but when we have to rebuild our infrastructure, all of a sudden we pull the insides of our pockets out and be like, oh, we don't have any money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
like
could.
Florida every year, California this past year with all the flooding, Ohio with the train derailment,
Yep.
tons of tornadoes. Like we have our fair share here. Homelessness, like there's a million things. And
Hmm.
that's why I like the stance, like the we the people. We the
Well, yeah,
people.
yeah, you know, and I this guy, I read somewhere that he was like into a bunch of like weird anti-Semitic stuff, like right wing stuff. So I'm not going to call him a hero, but it was good that he kind of shared. So he shared information, whatever, you know. Um, I think that I'm not going to personally call for more because this guy was part of the National Guard. He's a soldier and he has his allegiance to that. Like I read I read in an article that, you know, he's all about the military. And for him to do something stupid like that
Well, he's
is
all
just,
about the prison now.
yeah, it's gonna ruin him. So whatever. Hats off to you, but yeah, that was kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's like have you ever heard of Edward Snowden?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He's probably the biggest whistleblower, I think. Mm,
right.
as far as I know, he still can't. really come inside the country again.
Yeah, yeah, he's still in exile, I believe, in Russia. But yeah, Snowden, um, he released a ton of secrets, and the government hated him for it. But again, it was for the average American interest. It was to help the average American understand what's actually going on. And this helps us understand what's going on and where we stand in, in the world. Also, like, spy on our allies and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Every,
Edward Snowden did too. I think,
everybody's, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, he
Sorry.
exposed, so not only the government spying on us through our cell phones and everything, but also that the United States was also spying on the Allies as well, and
Yeah.
like basically every other country.
Everybody screams, oh, this is, George Orwell's 1984. It's all about communism, yada, da, da, da. When in all actuality, it's happening in a capitalist nation and right under our noses. Like we know what's happening. This
That's why you
is what,
see all those TikToks with the I've got my own personal FBI agent, right?
yeah,
And he's sitting
yeah,
there watching just like everyday normal kids, and yeah, that's why that whole meme's a thing. Is because I feel like everybody kind of knows now,
yeah.
and it's just
They're the NSA, the American Homeland Security Network is always listening in on everything. And sure, some of it is to like stop terrorist activities and, stop people from dying, but some of it is to keep their own international interests afloat and to keep them from being exposed
yeah,
and keep
but
the mask on.
yeah, and all they do is when they get caught, they're just we just trying to stop them terrorists.
Yep, yep.
that
You can't you can't justify it like that, especially when they're the only terrorists here are ones you ignore, are ones you don't do anything about in the first place. But when somebody comes and tries to wake up the American people and say, "Hey, America's acting like a crazy totalitarian dictatorship in a foreign nation," then it's a big deal. Then it's like, ooh,
yeah,
I
I mean,
I just go ahead.
no, all I was gonna say is, so yeah, like with 9/11 and everything, people think terrorists and they think Middle Eastern or,
Yeah.
somebody of the Islamic faith. When in reality, if you consider terrorism, we've had quite a lot of white ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
You look like me. Yeah.
yeah. And we're
So,
not even like we can even talk about even like school shooters and stuff. Those aren't even considered international terrorists. Those are just, you know, quote unquote, like mentally ill people or whatever. But
I mean,
those are
they could
terrorists.
be, but yeah. Yeah, you're just sticking a different label on it because why? Because they're white and they're Americans, or it's just kind
Exactly.
of weird. It's no, they're terrorists. They might also have some kind of mental thing going on, but like
Well,
regardless, whoever kind
they
of does that thing has to have something going on.
and what defines terrorism? What is the definition of terrorism? I mean, we constantly think that the terrorists are abroad, in some other country plotting to take our freedoms or some bullshit like that. But literally they're on TV every day, you know, or they're down the road, Flo Joe's. down the road with his buddies in Georgia, and they're all getting together and having their little KKK rally. The terrorists are right here. You know, the status quo, along with far right extremism, it's all right here. But we choose to look abroad. We choose to have our eyes abroad at other, you know, other people, and think that the threat is coming from globalism or some other bullshit like that. I don't know. I thought that it was an interesting thing to learn. You guys, anybody listening should really go look it up, do the research on it, um, really understand that the United States has a hand in everything that goes on, or mostly everything that goes on in the globe, and that we're a part of, you know, we're a part of something bigger than anybody could imagine. And this guy, though an idiot, really, really took one for the team. He,
Yeah,
he,
yeah. There you go. He did take one for the team.
so I wouldn't celebrate this guy as a hero or anything.
Frag out, dude. He threw
Yeah.
the pin. Uh, yeah.
So, but do your research, guys. Figure out what's going on out there.
That's fair. I think it's the more you know, and with the information we got because of this kid, I think it's just better for all of us just to know a little bit more. And who knows what else they haven't unveiled yet that they're
Yeah.
that hasn't been leaked. I think
Yeah.
it's fair that we as a society should be questioning and wondering. And
And just to make a point, you know, I don't agree with right wing people. I mean, in general terms, I agree with the right wing of this country that we need to stay out of Ukraine, but not for the reasons that they display. I don't side. I agree in a sense that we should pull out of Ukraine
we should
as
leave the
America.
same way God left.
Yeah.
My part's
But
done.
yeah, not all that conspiracy bullshit that the right wing pushes out. War is just bad people. War is just
Yeah, war's bad. Doesn't matter who necessarily wins because in reality, it's the people where there are no winners.
yep,
There's always loss.
yep. Poor people. Poor people always pay the price of these wars. Always, Yeah, and you're never going to see the benefits of it as an American or as a Ukrainian or as a Russian. You know, all you'll see is death and destruction. Well, guys in suits, you know, they'll they'll get what they want out of this. They'll make a profit out of this some way. So yeah, don't be pro war. Um, don't you know? Don't think that your government is best government. Don't trust don't always. I'm not gonna say that because I don't want the freaking Homeland Security knocking on my door, but always be critical of your government. There you go. Always be critical of your government and always pay attention to what they're doing outside of outside of the good old US of A. That's all I got to say about them.
Yeah. So be aware and stay safe. Bye.
But